my channel. I am Heather Tiemann. I'm a realtor down here in the beautiful Lexington, Columbia area of South Carolina. And today we're going to be talking about a step-by-step guide on how to relocate to the Columbia, Lexington area if you're moving from out of state. But before we get started, you know what I'm going to ask. If you could please like and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. We are just like 10 subscribers away for my goal of 550 subscribers by the end of 2025. So I greatly appreciate all the love and support. We're almost there. I'm so excited. I feel like I've been saying that every single week. I have been actually. But I really do appreciate you guys. So let's hop on into this. So if you're thinking about moving to the Columbia, Lexington, Lake Murray area, this is going to be your step-by-step guide. I know it can be very overwhelming, and I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible for you, just because I know if we go too deep into each topic, it's going to feel overwhelming. So I'm going to kind of try to keep this brief, touch on the steps that you should take, and then we can kind of go from there. So step number one is going to be researching the area. Start broad. If you are looking at South Carolina in general, what parts of South Carolina? Are you looking to be near the coast? Are you looking to be more in the Midlands area where you're close to the coast, close to the upstate, close to North Carolina? Are you looking to be next to Charlotte? Are you looking to be in the upstate? Figuring out where you're wanting to be. And once you've narrowed that down, kind of narrowing it down into towns. So because I'm from the Columbia metro area, we're going to talk about the Columbia metro area. So if you decided that the Midlands is for you, then start deciding, do I want to live in Columbia? Do I want to live in Lexington? Do I want to live in Irmo, Chapin, West Columbia, any of those areas, and figuring out what fits your needs, because every town is not going to be for everybody. So you really need to really research heavy into what areas you actually want to be in, because so many people start, they're like, I want to live in, we'll just take Columbia for instance. Columbia is vast. You can be on one side of Columbia and it can take you 40 minutes just to get to the other side of Columbia. Columbia is very far away from Columbia. And so each different area can have a very different feel to it. So taking the time to research what you're looking for and making sure the area fits that is super beneficial. Step number two is going to be, after you figured out the area that you are looking for, lining up employment. You want to start this, hang on, I have a little tickle in my throat. You want to start this as soon as possible. So if you're planning on being here in the next 6 months, it's go time. You need to start finding employment if you need employment. Some people, they move here and they're paying cash because they sold a home in their current state, or they work remotely, or they're retired and they're going off their retirement income. So it's not always required that you find a job, but if you need to find a job, you need to start that quickly, because we move slow in the South. It can take you 3, 4, 5 months to find a job here. And then you're kind of stuck and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't buy a house without a job, but I can't move there without a job. So you want to make sure that you are starting that process quickly. So number two, so many people think they can come here, buy a house, and then find the job. And unfortunately not, unless you have some other form of income. So definitely figuring that out. That's going to be your step two. So step three is going to be another area of research. Now you figured out the area of town that you want to be in. Now you need to figure out what neighborhood and school district that you want to be in. So different areas have different feels, and different neighborhoods also have different feels. It can be a world of difference. Are you looking for a quiet neighborhood full of mature trees? Are you looking for a neighborhood full of kids? Are you looking for a neighborhood that's going to be more geared towards retirees? Figuring out what you're looking for as far as neighborhoods go is very beneficial, whether that is coming to visit and just driving through all these different neighborhoods that fit your price range, or looking for videos online. We have a lot of videos on my channel that's me driving through and kind of talking about the neighborhood a little bit. But Step 3, I mean, you're gonna see a trend here of research, because I highly recommend researching heavily, especially if you plan on buying. So that brings us to step 4, deciding on if you're wanting to rent or buy. Renting can help you test drive an area. However, buying sooner can, help you lock in equity now and avoid multiple moves later. So trying to figure out which one will be best for you. One thing I always like to point out is it is nice. Oh, of course my computer's logging out. Well, let's pause. So I'm not 100% sure where I stopped on this, but we were talking about renting versus buying. Sorry, my computer logged me out and I have everything written here, so I had to sign back in, and I didn't want you guys sitting there waiting on me to sign back in. So if you're looking to rent, which may be a good idea if you're still in that process of trying to figure out, is this the right area for me? Do I want to live here long term? Rentals can be a little hard to find, especially like pet-friendly rentals, and also renting here can be a little more expensive compared to our home prices, just because of how our property taxes work. Is where rental properties are taxed significantly higher than if it is your primary residence. So definitely something you want to keep in mind there, that if you do plan on renting first, it may not be as cheap as you think it would be. So that is step 4. So step 5 would be coming in and looking at homes. So whether that's where you're looking to rent or you're looking to buy, many people do many different things. So they either come here if they're looking to rent and they just kind of knock it all out as quickly as possible. Maybe they just research online, and this can kind of go from renting or buying. If you're coming into town, a lot of people will come into town for a week or a weekend, and if you're looking to buy, we knock out a bunch of houses that weekend or that week. And hopefully we find something that fits your needs during that time. If not, there's always virtual tours, and kind of doing everything virtually, which is a very big benefit for a lot of people now that we're able to do that. And for those that do it virtually, oftentimes they would like to come into town during what's called our 10 business day due diligence period, see it in person, be there for the inspections. Some people don't. Some people just buy the house completely sight unseen in person. Like they're definitely seeing it virtually. But I do always warn people when you are considering doing it that way, that no matter how good your realtor is at pointing out every little detail, everything looks better in video. I mean, I'm just playing. So everything does look better in video. So definitely keep that in mind. And everything looks bigger in video. So I always recommend trying to see the home in person if you can. Now that's not always feasible for most people. And I've worked with quite a few people that have never seen a home until after they closed, and it works out completely fine for them. But if you can see it in person, I always recommend trying to. So you found the home, you're under contract. Now you need to figure out the logistics of your move. If you're needing childcare, you need to get on wait list. You need to find a daycare. Doing that, you can, depending on if the daycare, you need a daycare, a specific one, or if you're kind of open to your different options, you may want to get on a wait list when you're looking for employment. But depending on where it is, you may be able to get in there relatively quickly. So the daycare thing can go either or. Starting early is not a bad idea. The logistics of a move, you're going to want to figure out what is your ideal timeline. So most of the time in South Carolina, we're closing within 30 days. So if we go under contract September 1st, we're normally closing by October 1st. It's even quicker if you're cash, and it can be a little bit longer just depending on the specific situation. But you're going to want to line up movers, or you're going to do it DIY. A lot of people like to utilize pods. Pods is the biggest one because it tends to be the most affordable and it's most readily available nationwide. So pods is a big one. And pro tip, you can get pods and then you can actually go on different websites, but U-Haul's a big one. You can actually go and just hire movers and you can hire them for 2 or 3 hours, have them come lift all the heavy stuff into the pod, and then do that again when you get here and have them unload it. So always an option for you if you want to do it the DIY route. Or do you want to have someone that comes in, packs your home, packs it into the truck and drives it here and unpacks it for you. Obviously 2 very different price ranges on that, but really research very heavily on this, because especially when it comes to brokers, like moving brokers, there's a lot of scams out there. There are tons and tons of scams out there, and you want to make sure that you're not falling for those. So definitely go for a reputable company and kind of maybe take some suggestions on that, so you're not getting yourself in a bad situation, because the amount of people that I've heard that have gotten into those situations can be very difficult. Then you're also going to want to set up your utilities, renting or buying. So calling your water company, electric company, sewer, internet. Internet's going to be a big one, because sometimes it can take a little bit for your internet to get set up. So especially if they have to order things. So doing your internet, and then trash pickup. If you're wanting trash pickup, sometimes it can take them a while to bring out the trash cans. Some trash companies don't like you setting up the trash until after you closed, which is kind of a pain, especially if you know it's going to take a month for you to get your trash cans. Don't get me started on that. But definitely something you want to take into, like, during that 30-day window of getting that set up. So now you're here. You've closed on your new home. You've moved in. Now you're here. What do? You're gonna have an adjustment period. You're gonna have getting settled in. You're going to start your new job. Your kid's gonna start school, or they're gonna start daycare, and you're gonna need to kind of get settled in. And that, honestly, that can take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. But getting settled in, but get plugged into the community. This is a game changer for so many people that move here. I cannot stress this enough. If you listen to nothing else in this video besides this, the people that love living here are the people that are getting out, talking to people, making friends, and making those connections. The people that do not like living here almost exclusively expect people to come to them. That's not going to happen. A lot of people think that people are going to knock on their doors and be like, knock, hey, you want to be friends? That's not going to happen. It didn't happen where you came from. It's not going to happen here. So South Carolina is all about those community ties. Join local Facebook groups, local clubs, church groups. You can join the Lexington newcomers. We meet monthly for people that are new to the area, or people that have been here for years. Sometimes it's just locals. I host it and I'm a local. But you're able to build those relationships and build those friendships, and it makes it feel like home faster. A lot of people don't take into consideration that where you came from, you may have lived there for the last 10 years. Did you get your entire community within the first 3 months of living there, or did it take some years? So you're going to want to try to start making those friends as quickly as possible, because that really will change your entire outlook on that area. And then lastly, let's talk about expecting an adjustment period. I kind of touched on this a little bit. It's going to be an adjustment, especially if you're from a larger city, and then you're maybe from a cold climate. So we have hot, humid summers and mild winters. That takes an adjustment. Bugs are going to take an adjustment, because we have a lot of bugs here, Pace of life, we're a lot slower here. So like we talked about earlier, where trying to find a job, like starting that sooner rather than later, because it takes a while. Getting used to that. If you're applying for apartments or rentals, it's unlikely that you're going to apply today and then be approved in a rental by tomorrow. It takes time. Southern hospitality, neighbors wave, they talk to people at the grocery store. But it's very unlikely what you're expecting, where you move in and people knock on your door and they're bringing you a pie. That's probably not going to happen, especially depending on where you move. A lot of people move into new construction neighborhoods here, and I will say that most of the time, if you're coming from out of state and you're moving into a new construction neighborhood, you're very likely moving next to people that also moved here from out of state. Because most of the time, locals are going to live in more mature neighborhoods. They're going to live in neighborhoods that people that move here typically wouldn't choose. They may be living on their own land somewhere that's not even in a neighborhood. So these newer construction neighborhood is almost always going to have a majority of people that are moving here from other areas. So give yourself a few months to settle in, and most people do grow to love it. And it really, helps with, I lost my train of thought. It really helps with the move when you're getting out and meeting people and expecting that adjustment period. Expecting that I'm not going to move here and I'm going to feel dialed into the community immediately, because you're not. One thing I always like to tell people, like, research things to do here, because I do find that they're not advertised very well. We have so many things to do here. I've lived here my entire life, and every single day I'm finding new things to do, but you have to go look for them. And it really opens up your eyes to new experiences when you do that. And I find that people that move here are actually better about that than people that have lived here their entire lives. Because people that have lived here their entire lives, they have their routines, they have their things that they like. So they go to the same restaurants, they go to the same entertainment options over and over again, because that's what they've already found what they liked. But people that are moving here, they're normally pretty good about finding the hidden gems, because they're researching it, they're looking for these things, and they're asking questions. So definitely keep all this in mind when you are considering. So like kind of a recap, we've talked about researching what area you want to live in, researching neighborhoods, getting a job quickly, finding childcare, purchasing a home, making community, and expecting adjustment period. Relocation is a big step, but if you follow this guide, you'll feel like home in no time. And if you're thinking of moving here and you haven't already, feel free to join our Moving to Lexington, Moving to Irmo, or Moving to Chapin Facebook groups. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have, not just for me, but people that have moved here from all over the country. Normally, you're able to get, some pretty good answers over there. Especially in the Moving to Lexington group. That group is a lot larger than the other two. So typically when you ask a question, you're getting a wide variety of opinions. So until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!